star cluster, the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. These stars combined create one of the brightest clusters visible in the northern hemisphere. This award celebrates an individual for showing exceptional support in advancing the leadership role of women in our industry. This year, our Pleiades Award recipient is Holly Red. She is the CEO of Costa Del Mar, and I'd like to share a little story with you all. 5 years ago, when we had our first champagne breakfast after many years, Holly and I met for the first time. And I remember her telling me, I want to do more. I want to do more for the OWA. I want to do more for our optical community. And she has been doing more. The Do More belief was a rally point for the OWA and our optical community. We do more at our regional events, we do more with our families, we do more within our communities. That's what it's all about. It's all about finding a way to do something more no matter what it is. With her social consciousness, it's truly inspiring, and it exemplifies the meaning of this award. Presenting the signature Pleiades Award for Holly this morning is Fabrizio Ugazzoni, President of Luxottica North America.
Good morning, Holly. First of all, let me congratulate also to Laura, I would pronounce it Laura, and Jessica for the award. Congratulations on your contribution to the Optical Women Association and the women overall in our industry. It was a very long process to think about what to say about Holly, because I believe everyone in this room, in one way or another, have touched Holly leadership in the last 5 years. No, now it's probably 8 years in the industry, 5 with Luxottica and 3 with Costa. So the resume is amazing, and there is no really value for me to go through the resume of Holly. There is, for me, value in going through what has been the impact Holly had in the industry, in our organization. There are so many women of Luxottica here today that even if she's not anymore with us, she is. They're still looking at Holly as a role model on the legacy she left in our organization. And personally, it was the first time I came in the United States. It was February the 2nd, if I remember well, 2014. I was freezing on 38th Street in front of the Refinery Hotel. And it was my first time meeting the North American leadership team. And there was an outside meeting at the rooftop of Refinery, and I'm sure it brings a lot of memories to a lot of us here in the room. And I was out there doing something I should stop to do probably, but and I saw this person coming, smiling. It was a sort of the sun rising in the morning, and just that hug that morning, it was the best welcome in the North American team, in a team that I didn't know, in a country that is not my country. It was such a warm welcome, and all the day was, the day made me really convinced that it was the right choice to join Holly, being my second women boss in my career. And for all the time, Holly has been always, you can see Holly as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, a great leader. And Paige, Holly's daughter, probably you don't know the definition of leader, you just need to look up to your mom. And once you will learn the definition of leader, you're going to see that is probably a very good example of what leaders mean. She's been very inspirational. She is passionate about all what she does. She has what I call the touch. She is capable to be strong, but she's capable also to be soft. She's capable to inspire. And all of that together is always something that I look at to try to be inspired. I had to fill big shoes when I took the position of Holly 3 years ago. And actually the first time she came to me and said, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna propose you. And I said, are you sure? And she trusted me and I trusted her. So that is probably one of the best work and personal relationship I had in my life. And even in these years, and now back colleague, and I'm so glad of that. We always remain in touch because I always seen Ollie, and I always seen Ollie's contribution to this industry being amazing. She has been a disruptor in this industry. So think about out of the box. She probably does not even know the box exists. And so that's why I really encourage all of you to, if you didn't have that touch, try to have that touch in somehow. So a coffee, a dinner, a breakfast, or working with Ollie Rush is going to be for you definitely an added value, a pleasure, and an honor, as it's been for me for 2 amazing years where we're sitting really side by side in the office in Port Washington. And a lot of morning receiving the text asking about the volume of the week. It was really inspiring, and for that I really thank you. I really thank everyone, and I believe everyone should thank Holly for what he brought to our industry 8 years ago. So it's my pleasure, and please join me in welcome on stage, receiving the this award, Ollie Rush. Please.
Wow. Well, clearly I didn't get the memo on wearing red today, so I apologize. Our ladies in red looked spectacular. It was a power color, and you guys rocked it today, so congratulations. I'm just going to move these here. There's a lot of notes here. I don't want to get confused, because this is a really big moment. Thank you guys all for coming out today. I know it's a record crowd, and it's early, and it means a lot to see all of you here. So many friends and colleagues and people I've had the pleasure of working side by side with over these last 8 years. I want to just start, Fabrizio, by saying thank you. I know that this was a big request on a lot of levels, and it wasn't an easy decision, but it was the right one. Largely because I had the opportunity, as Fabrizio said, to work side by side with you and build something really amazing in the Luxottica organization. A group of people who were really passionate, not just about delivering the number, but also about really leading and changing this industry. And I also had the chance to watch Fabrizio grow exponentially from a global operations expert to a business leader and an industry influencer. Someone with vision, with intellect, with courage, and as you saw here on the stage, most importantly, heart. It was a pleasure to be on that journey together, but even more importantly, to see how the legacy of the OWA is not only as strong and stronger today under your leadership. So thank you, Fabrizio. It is so overwhelming to be here today. I think you heard that from a lot of the other award honorees today. Because in all of you, we see the future, but we also see what makes this industry so incredibly special to all of us. I'm a complete mix of emotions and have been since that call in December, Tiara. I think she probably blew 3 of us away on that day. And there's a lot of introspection and retrospection that you go through in a moment like this. So I would start by saying I'm incredibly humbled and honored to receive the Pleiades Award this year. To stand on the stage with Laura and with Jessica, you guys were amazing this morning, and I'm inspired by everything that you shared today and what you're doing for the industry. but also to share this award with many of the prior winners, like my friend Sue Downs and Ashley Mills and Maureen Kavanaugh. I don't know where you are, Maureen, but I saw you earlier. I so appreciate your support. And my dear, dear friend Marge Axelrod, to name a few. These women are game changers. They are change agents. They inspire me every day. They lead with courage and passion, and most importantly to me, grace. And so thank you guys for paving the path, and I'm honored to stand with you after today. I'm also incredibly amazed by this industry every day. I hope that you all feel as blessed as I do to work amongst friends and people we consider family. I've worked in other industries before, and the reason why people come here and stay is because of the family. And you are a family to me, and I know to everybody in this room. I'm also incredibly grateful for the last 8 years to have found an industry where I can be me, and that can be celebrated and embraced, and I can show up with passion and purpose and really make an impact. And like Jessica said, I'm incredibly excited about the future and what I see ahead, not just for the OWA, but for this amazing industry. I want to tell you a little bit about a conversation I had with my husband about 8 years ago when I first joined Luxottica, because I reflected a lot back on that moment after learning I was winning today's award. And he does a really good job of keeping me in my place. You can imagine that's really important in our relationship. And he's always telling me what I need to hear in that moment. And 8 years ago, just after I joined the industry, he said to me, you know, this is the trifecta. He said, this is really powerful, Holly Rush. You've got something special here. You have the chance to lead and impact teams and people, and you love to do that. That's your passion. But you've done that before, and you'll do it again. And you maybe had an opportunity in the past to impact organizations, but maybe not in the same way that you'll have the chance to do at Luxottica. He said, but the real win here, and what makes it so special, is you have an opportunity to impact an industry. And that's a once in a lifetime. And then he kicked me in the ass, and he said, now what are you gonna do about it? So I've thought a lot about that moment over these last couple of months, and what the Pleiades Award means. It is really the heart of the OWA. It's the mission of inspiring, of collaborating, of connecting, of creating vision. And it's why this is such a humbling moment. It took me right back to 8 years ago, and it made me realize why I never left this amazing industry. And I know for many of you, the same. So thank you for that. So, since Tiara's call, and in thinking about all of what this means and what happens next, I think one of the questions that I asked myself, and I'm sure the other winners asked as well, is what did I really do to deserve this? You know, have I done enough? It's really the spirit of do more. The questions I asked myself are, you know, have I left a big enough legacy? Will that legacy live on long after I do? Have I opened enough doors? Have I touched enough people? Have I supported women and men on their journey to be the best versions of them? Have I provoked the right conversations in our industry? Because I think that's what a real leader does. And I kept circling around this thinking of, have I done enough? And I keep coming back to, the work is never done. There's always more to do. And that's really the spirit of #DoMore that we introduced last year. So part of what I want to encourage all of you to do today and every day after is to just give back and think about making the difference in one person's life every day, male or female, young or old. We spend a lot of time thinking about our businesses, our teams and organizations, about creating shareholder value and reaching a number, whatever it is that we're thinking about, disruption in our industry. But do we spend as much time thinking about how we can positively impact somebody else's life? Whether it's supporting an emerging talent and opening new doors for them, whether it's encouraging talent from outside our industry to join us on this incredible journey, or to having important conversations like diversity and what it means for our industry. So that's it in a nutshell. For me, it's about doing more, and I think for so many of you, it is as well. Our job isn't done. My job isn't done, and I'm just so excited about this platform that the OWA provides for all of us here today. So I want to wrap with something that's important to me, which is gratitude. Because we don't all get where we are on our own. We get there because of the helping hands of so many people, and you all sit here in this room for me. And I want to start with the amazing women of the OWA. You ladies are rock stars, and you all have full-time jobs, and many of you have families and tons of commitments, and you make time to inspire all of us. You've given me a platform 5 years ago and another one today, and you trusted me with that, so thank you for that. And I want to thank my team at Luxottica. 8 years ago, I joined them on an incredible journey, and I have to say it was the most awe-inspiring leadership opportunity of my career and challenge. I had the opportunity to work with such incredible people who are so dear to me, and they're friends, and I consider them family, and I've watched them grow and have such impact on this industry, and it makes me so proud to have been part of you. And then my team at Costa and Essilor, I see you guys in the back, and some of you are here. Wow, I have the opportunity to do something I'm so passionate about. I have the opportunity to build an amazing team and lead an incredible brand whose spirit is all about doing good and changing the world. It means everything to me to work with you guys. I have the opportunity to work with some of the brightest talent in this industry, and if you don't know who they are, get to know them because they're awesome. So thank you guys. And last but not least, my family. 2 of the 3 are here today. My husband, Michael, and my beautiful daughter, Paige. My son, Jack, the 4th part of the family, he's in Washington, D.C. on his 8th grade class trip, so we're a little nervous about that, Mom and Dad. Putting him on a plane this morning without us there was a big step, but I'm sure he's having a lot of fun, no doubt. I want to start with you, Michael. You're my rock, and you make it real for me every day when things get crazy. You gave me a soft place to land, but you never go easy on me, and I appreciate that. You let me be me, and you support me every step of the way. And then there's my beautiful daughter, Paige. I asked her if she wanted to come up on the stage with me today, and she said, "No way, Mom." She also asked me, you'll get a kick out of this, a week ago, because we were talking about the event, and I was trying to prepare both of us for this moment. And she said, "Mom, this sounds like a really big deal." She's like, "Are Michelle Obama and Oprah, will they be there too?" So maybe next year, right? What do you think? Yeah, no, seriously, that's what she said. I said, "No, but there's some women there that are even more badass than Oprah and Michelle."
Yay.
So 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to be part of that first champagne breakfast, and I stood on a stage, or sat on a stage, not unlike this one, and I shared a lot with you guys about my journey, my passions, my challenges, my fears. And I didn't expect to share something that was happening that day for us as a family, but I did anyway, and I never looked back because you made me feel so comfortable doing it. And I shared with you that that beautiful little 5-year-old girl at the time was doing something really important to her that day. She was trying out for the swim team. And that was a really big moment. She was scared, she was excited, she was nervous, and Mom couldn't be there. And that was a real challenge for me. It was a challenge emotionally. There's a lot of guilt for those of us who are parents, that sometimes we have to miss those moments. And I shared that with all of you, and you opened your arms and you shared back. And I'm so, so proud to be able to introduce her to all of you today, because you still ask me about her. You ask about her by name. You wonder if she's still swimming and what she's up to. And let me just say, she is the light of my life, my pride and joy. And in her, I see all the hope for the future for all of us. She's fierce, she's brave, she's independent, like it or not. She knows no boundaries whatsoever. She's never been told girls can do this and girls can't do that. And that's why I believe she represents the future for all of us. So I wasn't there that day, babe, to watch you fly. You did amazing in your swim team tryouts. She's not swimming anymore, but she loves horses, in case you want to know. But I am glad that she's here to watch me fly. All of you have been such an important part of my journey, and you've given me wings, and I can't be more grateful to that. So thank you all for this high honor today.
We do need the tissue right about now. Please announce your charity of choice, Holly. Congratulations.
So, it wasn't hard to pick you. It was really hard to decide on charity of choice, but it was absolutely the right decision. So, Paige has been blessed by this industry with the gift of sight. And when she was 5, right around the same time as that champagne breakfast 5 years ago, after a one-site mission, we realized that we should take our kids to the eye doctor. Hadn't been done before. And it turns out she needed to see a pediatric ophthalmologist, and she's worn glasses ever since. And to her, the world's never looked more beautiful since that day she put them on. So it was a hard decision because the Essilor Vision Foundation and One Sight and many other organizations do such great work every day for our children. They give them hope and potential for an amazing life. But I went in another direction because I wanted to do this for my dad. So, for those of you guys who know, I lost my dad in October of last year. He fought for 7 years a horrible disease called Alzheimer's. And it was hard on us. It was really hard on my mom. We lost a very special person the day he passed. And there are 6 million other families out there who suffer with Alzheimer's as well, and there's no known cure. The scariest part is it's supposed to triple in the next 30 years. So thank you for giving hope to all the families like ours and to the Alzheimer's Association. Thank you.
Congratulations, Holly. Congratulations, our 3 extraordinary award honorees this morning. The OWA believes that by working together, we will create an organization that is bigger and brighter than the sum of our individual efforts. We will continue to do more for the women and our great industry. So let's all raise a toast, a glass, and toast to our 3 extraordinary award honorees and their charities. Cheers. Cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker this morning is Kathleen Taylor. Katie is the chair of the board of the Royal Bank of Canada, where she served since 2001, previously chairing the Human Resources and Corporate Governance Committees, and served on the Audit and Risk Committees. She is also chair of the board of the Sick Kids Foundation and a member of the board of trustees for the Hospital for Sick Children, based in Toronto. Katie is also the former president and CEO of the Four Seasons Hotel and Resorts. She spent 24 years with the iconic global company, where she held a number of senior leadership roles and was instrumental in building the firm's global brand and its international portfolio of luxury properties. In addition, Katie has received many accolades for her business achievements, was inducted to the Canadian Marketing Hall of Legends, and was also named one of Canada's most power-filled women by the Women's Executive Network. She lives in Toronto with her husband and her 3 children. Our moderator today is our very own Sue Downs, CEO of MyEyeDr, and last year's recipient of the Person of Vision Award. Sue is a member of the OWA Board of Directors and co-chair of our Professional Development Fund, where she engages with our sponsor companies to ensure the overall success of our organization. We are lucky to have both of them with us this morning. Please join me in welcoming Sue Downs and Katie Taylor.
Good morning, everybody. Katie, we have a hard act to follow.
We really do. I was very impressed.
Congratulations to the award winners. You did an amazing job in continuing to lead the industry. So, Katie, you and I have known each other for a few years now.
Yes, indeed.
And besides being a great mentor, you've become a great friend too. So I cannot thank you enough on behalf of the OWA and myself for giving up your time to come and share your learnings with us.
Great pleasure to be here. This is a fantastic organization.
So, let's start with some leader questions.
Okay.
Can you define a great leader for us?
Well, leadership, I think, is as we've all learned in our multifaceted careers, and we saw some great examples of that this morning with our awardees, who've done so many things in their very young but accomplished lives. But I think there's a few things that have helped me as I've thought about leadership over the course of the last many years of my career. The first is, and a couple of people mentioned, best self. There's no substitute for authentic leadership. There's no way you can get people to follow you, to listen to you, to engage with the mission and the vision that you have for your company, for your business, for your division, for whatever it is in life. In fact, it goes straight to family as well. You need this at home. It's showing up real and in your very best form, no matter how you are working. And that's a journey. We have to find ourselves, and it's particularly true of women, because role models have been hard to come by. And you're very blessed in this industry to have the chance to point out so many women who have had an impact on your careers and on your lives. That isn't true in many industries. In the industry I grew up in, the hotel industry, there were no women leaders when I arrived as a young leader. And so cobbling that together was something that I had to figure out how to do from different data points over the course of my career. The second thing I would say, and again, it's emblematic of what's going on in this room and in this organization, is the power of relationships and taking the time to invest in people and staying connected and trying to do as much networking as you possibly can do. Life is long. Build lots of bridges. You never know when those are going to come in handy. I'm a fair bit older and more advanced in my career than all of you, but I can tell you that there isn't a week that goes by when there isn't something happening in my life and I say, oh, thank heavens I invested the time and attention in that prior moment. And I think the third thing I would just say is values. Values-led leadership, particularly today in companies. Employees, customers, suppliers, everybody is looking to leadership for that. We used the word compass earlier to describe lots of different things, but that moral compass, that values compass. And leading with your values right there on the front of your t-shirt and showing people that you really are committed to them, that it's not just words, it really is a belief, it really is about actions. That, in the end, engenders enormous followership and infuses the power of your leadership.
And so, if we were talking to your team from the Four Seasons, what would be a few characteristics that they would tell us that they saw in Katie as a leader?
I would say, I'm from Oshawa. Anybody in this room ever heard of Oshawa? Oh my God! That hardly ever happens. It's an incredibly well-informed group. Suffice to say, nobody's from Oshawa, but I was from Oshawa, and one of the things that my team